Right. Yeah. Did y'all hear the music?
Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
I
All
didn't
right,
know it was that
Lonnie.
hard. That joke was hard right there. I thought I was gonna have to start rapping for y'all or something.
I can't know who made the beat. I'm like, was it one? Yeah, that's awesome.
Welcome to Talk Tuesdays, a series dedicated to empowering youth and families. This series is brought to you by Safe Foundations Inc., where advocacy meets education for the betterment of young minds. Each month, we explore meaningful topics designed to inspire growth, spark creativity, and equip our listeners with the tools they need to thrive. I'm Melanie Alvarez, your host and peer educator. This month, we're diving into a theme that holds incredible power over how we approach life challenges and our personal growth, the power of positivity. We're going to explore how growth mindset can change your year and your life. A growth mindset is more than just an idea. It's a way of thinking, a way of approaching obstacles, and a way of seeing failure as a part of the learning process. Whether it's about your studies, your goals, or personal growth, adopting a mindset can help you unlock your true potential and find success even in the most difficult situations. We'll be discussing how the right mindset shapes everything from how we talk to ourselves to how we bounce back from the setbacks. Over the next 4 weeks, we'll be learning how to turn challenges into opportunities, embrace failure as a growth, and keep building confidence with each other new goals. Are we ready to shift the way you approach challenges? Let's dig in and find out how make positivity and growth mindset work for you. Over to you, Amaya. Failure as a growth and keep building confidence with each other new
So
goals.
my first
Are,
question is,
are
what
we
is
ready to shape the
growth
way we
and
approach
how is
challenges?
it different from a
Let's
fixed
dig in
mindset?
and find out how make positivity and growth mindset
Say
work
that
for you.
again, because
Over
I
to
could
you,
barely hear
Amaya.
you.
Oh, sorry. I said, what is a growth mindset and how is it different from a fixed mindset?
Are we ready to shape the
Ooh.
way
And how is it different from a fixed mindset?
Ooh, who want to tackle that one first? What's a growth mindset, y'all?
Oh, sorry. I said, what is a growth mindset and how is it different from a fixed mindset?
Oh, Chance, unmute.
And how is it different from a
See,
fixed
I'm new to
mindset?
this. Sorry, guys.
What's a growth
But
mindset?
first, thank you all for having me on the podcast. I think this is an incredible opportunity for us not only to collaborate, but also to expand our minds with insight and inspiration, right? So the question was, what is the definition of a growth mindset? And if we think about growth mindset, we always think about expansion. But we also have to think from a different perspective of, am I doing something in alignment to the goals that I have for myself? Am I doing the things that's in alignment to who I want to be or where I said I want to become, right? So growth mindset means that you have to involve yourself into things that is in cohesion with the person or the people that you want to be around or become.
I like that.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me too. Me too. All
What you
right.
got? Look, I know Salika ready. Come on, give it to us, girl. Give it to us. Look.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Silika Camacho and super happy to be here. Excited about the program. When it comes to growth mindset, this is my jam. I love everything about being able to expand, as Chauncey said, on who you are. So growth mindset versus fixed mindset was the question. And when it comes to growth mindset, it just a belief that you can develop. So your intelligence, your abilities, your talents, those things can develop. And so sometimes we have, so I'm going to speak sometimes from my math. I love math, by the way. I know most people do not love math. They have this idea that they can't do math or they're not good at it. But my mission is always to convert those non-lovers. And so basically saying, as we continue to work on things, we shift the way, I think somebody mentioned this earlier, shift the way that we're thinking, the way that we speak to ourselves and about ourselves. Because I always find that with students who struggle with math, it's all about confidence. It's like, I'm just a cheerleader. I literally most of the time don't teach anything. I'm there to support and being able to shift those challenges. So when we have that fixed mindset, it means that you're either good or not good at something. And so one of the number one things that I talk to students about when I talk about the growth mindset is the word smart. I don't use the word. Smart is a fixed word because if you've been in school, which all of us have, you know that people will label you. Either you're smart or you're not, right? And if you're labeled as smart, a lot of times people are challenged with challenges. So I think I know everything. I'm smart. I'm smart. So when faced with a challenge that they struggle with, smart students tend to give up. They're not resilient. So if I have a student with a growth mindset, they will be more inclined to continue to persevere, continue to try, continue to practice. And so that's why smart tends to be a fixed rather than a growth mindset. So just thinking about always, as you guys say, take the L's. I say learn the lesson, right? So when I have a mistake, when I have a challenge, I'm taking the L. I'm learning the lesson. All right.
Come on with them L's. I gotta put that one. Hold on, I gotta put that one in the chat. Look, she done dropped the whole gym. You finna take the L's. Yes, take the lesson.
Listen, yes, learn the lesson, learn the lesson. And that's where the growth mindset comes in, right? Okay, I failed on this. How can I do it again? What can I do to improve? I got this, right? So that's the growth mindset. Okay, another challenge. I got this because I conquered one before. I got this. I got this. Take the L. So that's my take on growth mindset. Yes.
I love that. I love it. Look, I just got to add because I love when we talk about like growth mindset, right? Because it's exactly what both of you have mentioned. It's about us being able to take a thing and continuing to do it, right? Without saying I can't. And I feel like when we have a fixed mindset, we limit ourselves. We're not willing to open up and try new things, or we're not willing to do the hard thing. Everything is not meant to be easy. And I think sometimes when it's too easy, it don't feel like it's worth having, right? So I love Salika's take the L, and you turning that L from a loss to a lesson. If y'all don't take nothing else away, I hope y'all take that with you.
Yeah, my kids make fun of me all the time. They're always trying to use their young people terms on me, like, okay, L moms. I'm like, yeah, a lot of lessons. Yes, I'm an L mom. It's all right. It's all good.
I would like to add something, if you guys don't mind, is that most times when we're thinking about fixed and growth, most times when we're in a space of being scared or hesitant about doing something, that's the best time to do it. That's the opportunity to expand not only your mindset, but also your proximity. Like I said, I mentioned before, the people around you is the most important, or is going to be the catalyst to who you'll become in the next 5, 6, 10 years from now. So if you're in a proximity of people that's causing you to doubt yourself, put yourself in places that you're not supposed to be in, say things or do things that you're not supposed to do, then align that or try to compare that with who you said you want to become or the version of you that you want to become. Is that in alignment? Is that coming into a collaboration, or is that dissension? Right? So especially when you're frustrated, especially when you're scared, when you're hesitant, when people are trying to talk you out of those things, you have to be okay with doing it anyway. Be the outcaster. Be okay with saying no. Be okay with doing the opposite. Why? Because That is the greatest separator. If someone, think about it this way, if someone's saying, "Oh, I need to go, you know, you got to study for a test, and you know you got only a couple days until it's finished, and or before you take the test, but all your friends are saying, "Oh, I want to go to the skating rink," and you know that test is important for you. Which would make sense for you to go study for the test or go to the skating rink, right? So now it gives you a tangible look at, am I in the proximity of who I said I want to become, do the things I want to do, and become the person I want to become? Is that in alignment to the decisions that I have to make? And I'm sure that's going to come up later on in the conversation about decisions, because that is going to be the catalyst as well. So I wanted to add that before we moved on, because Salika had dropped that L, and I'm like, damn, I can't go out like that. Golly.
But not at all, because you already know I'm all about purpose.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so you already know you started off with purpose, and these conversations are extremely important and critical for young people because it allows them, like you said, to always remain in alignment and have a space where they know, okay, whenever I'm making a decision, the decision comes from that space of purpose,
Yep.
of alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
We'll
of
get into that,
course.
hopefully.
Yeah, you already know.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
the vibe.
If I was to add something to this, right, I love what the both of you said. One of the things, especially going into these high schools, when it comes to fixing growth, to take it a little bit deeper, kind of like what she was saying, accountability and ownership. You have a lot of times when we're in school, someone can do something wrong and they're stuck in their ways where they're not willing to change or accept the accountability that they of what they've done wrong or who they've done wrong. Oh, it wasn't me, or it wasn't this. Being able to just sit in the mirror or fake mirror, right? And be like, hey, let me fix my error. Let me fix what I've done. Let me fix me. You know what? I apologize. Those things, I know it's not the true definition of like the fix and growth, but in the actual behavior side of it, those things is what high schoolers, young adults deal with on a day-to-day basis, especially what they call it, the YNs. We don't accept accountability. We don't accept accountability. We point the finger at everybody else. So when it comes to the fix side of it, it's been stuck with who you are instead of trying to grow into who you should become. So that's what I would just add that because they hit it on the head. I can't do no better than what they already did. But
That's an amazing addition because now you took it from the definition to bringing it into action. Yeah.
I think I feel led to add to that as well. Most of our upbringing and our environment does not define or identify who you are and who you should become. Because most times we were taught to be the ones to like, oh no, I'm not wrong. Oh no, I'm not, to Malcolm's point. But in reality, to be in a growth mindset, you got to do the opposite. To his point, you got to be like, you know what, my bad. I'm sorry. Even if you don't feel like it's your bad, that'll give you the opportunity to look inward. That gives you the opportunity to identify those emotions that comes up. So it becomes emotional intelligence, right? Intellectual intelligence, understanding what's going on and being aware of those things leads to being able to look inward and saying, you know what, my bad. Does it make sense? All right. Yo, Malcolm, you bringing it out me, man. You say you had 3 today. I got to catch up to you, man.
Thank you guys. Those are great answers. My next question is, how do you deal with setbacks while maintaining a growth mindset?
Setbacks are necessary. That's what I'm gonna say. Setbacks are necessary. Again, I feel like everything should not come easy, and there's always going to be a roadblock, but it's how we choose to deal with the roadblock, right? When we have challenges, we should learn to grow from those challenges. It's like that L, that lesson. When you have that setback that Salika mentioned, there's lessons in everything that's around us. We choose how we desire to look at it, right? So we're going to either choose to view it in a negative light and continue to harp on the negativity, or we're going to choose to take the lesson and find something positive in that setback. The way I look at it is when things don't work the way that we feel like it should work, that's God's way of blocking something that we ain't got no business doing anyway, right? So I say use that setback as your comeback. Ain't that what they say? For every setback, there's a major comeback. And I find that to be very true. We may not view it as such in the moment that we're going through it. And you may not see the best part of it the same day or the next day or a week from then. But eventually you will understand why it wasn't meant for you to be in that space, or why it wasn't meant for you to have a thing, or why that roadblock was there. It stopped you from doing something, or it stopped you from making a mistake. And maybe that thing that you thought was meant for you really was not for you. You might have wanted it right now, but it wasn't the season for it. So I use them all as lessons. And we can always find something positive to take away from it. I love that question.
I will add to it. To me, setbacks are value builders. In order to, like, if you look at Elon Musk and all these millionaires, they went through struggle after struggle after struggle after struggle after struggle. All we see the success side of it, but we don't know the pain that they went through. The many times that certain things end up not going accordingly, they had to scratch their entire plan. My biggest accomplishment is having setbacks. I've been able to achieve so much in my life now because of the value builders that I've built over time. So setbacks, embrace them, like Abigail said, learn from them, and then start maneuvering. The one thing that we don't do as humans is when we have a setback, we set back instead of actually getting to the point where, you know what, I did this, and that's the one piece that didn't work. Let me fix it. So now you're moving up according to your goal where you're trying to reach. So setbacks is a plus to me. I love it because now I'm growing and becoming a better me, and my business or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, it's getting closer to that breakthrough. So embrace those setbacks.
Johnson, you going? Okay. So how many of you have heard of WD-40? Heard of WD-40? Do you know where it got its name from? So the 40 stands for the 40th time they got the formula right. So it took them 40 times to get the formula right. I know. So now I'm thinking, a friend of mine said recently, she's like, everything you do is a teachable moment. You're always teaching a lesson. But yes, so if that was the 40th time that they finally got the formula right. And so one of the things, like Malcolm was saying, you know, looking at these as opportunities for improvement, but also what I want to add is something that sometimes I preach to myself, right? So I'm going to say, you might hear me say, this is the hypocrisy speaking. We have to celebrate the small wins, right? I took an L. I did, you know, I'm sure that each time they tried that formula, those 39 times, there was something they took away, like, okay, well, this piece worked or that part worked, you know, so making sure that we stop always thinking about how we're talking to ourselves. Okay, I wasn't successful at this, but now I have information that I have gained to improve myself, right? I'm not going to spend that time kind of beating up on myself and saying, oh my gosh, I failed again. What did I gain in order to improve myself? Celebrate the small wins along the way, and then we move forward from there. So I think that is critical, celebrating those wins when we have those setbacks. Find something to be thankful for. Gratitude goes a long way as well. You know what? I'm grateful that it may have taken us 40 times to get this formula right, but we didn't blow up the house. You know, whatever. We didn't blow up the factory. You know, celebrate some type of win. You know, I'm great at this. Hey, I'm still breathing. Okay. It's a win. It's a win.
I don't know if y'all able to give them like a hand emoji or something, because they just killed that. Or could we do that in the chat or something like that? Or the students? No? There we go. I see one. No, they hit it exactly on the nail. And I want to take this thing up another notch. I want you guys to see the perspective of setbacks as something that is the indication of your growth. You having setbacks mean that you're growing. Because you're supposed to, as they said, learn for the next level, not just now. You're learning to maintain those gifts, maintain those abilities, maintain that mindset so that the next level, what tends to happen is it becomes a lot easier for you. Now you get to teach. Now you get to inspire. Now you get to be able to speak about the knowledge that you've gained from the setbacks that you lived through. Does that make sense? So setbacks is the indication of your growth, and setbacks is the indication for you to be an inspirational figure to the people that need you the most. Now, if we were to think about it this way, every decision that we make or do not make results into a consequence that impacts the people around us.
I like to sit with that, or did not make.
Did not make.
Yes.
Because sometimes we know we're
Yeah.
supposed to do something, and when we don't do it, we see the consequence on the back end. Right? But here's the thing, even the word consequence does not mean you're in trouble or you're missing something. Lean into this one. That means that you're about to experience something different away from what you're supposed to learn. Right? So when we think about setbacks, most times, even me, I'm still working on this. I know God has a bigger plan for me. I already know my purpose is written for me. But this is happening for a reason. This pattern is happening for a reason. And sometimes it happened multiple times. After a win, another win, another win, then the same thing happens. That means it's something in me that's not processing what I'm supposed to learn. So then it goes back to the last question that I kind of touched on, the emotional intelligence aspect. When you're in this mindset or you're in this this situation of being set back, really sit with what's being said. Sit with what is being done. Like reevaluate. Hold yourself accountable, like Malcolm said before. Right? Keep trying, keep learning, keep experiencing, because if you stop and sit back, what tends to happen is it becomes a sit with you, and then lean in, it becomes depression, anxiety, frustration. Then you start to point the fingers. Right? So I want to make that abundantly clear that don't look at a setback as something going against you. I know all y'all gonna love this, especially Malcolm, because I see him. Don't look at don't look at setbacks as something happening to you. It's happening for you. And I'll leave it at that.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting gems left and right. I don't know about y'all. If it's not for y'all, it's for me. It's for me. If it's not for y'all, it's for me. I'm loving
Me
this.
too, trust me. We talking hey, I'm telling you.
I gotta take a minute to chuckle because you see that baby put in the chat. Now that's a bar. Okay, come on, Johnston, dropping bars. I feel like we should give him some music.
Drop the beat from the beginning of the podcast, please. Somebody.
Nah, don't do it. I'm just here to supply knowledge. That's it. I'm here for you guys.
All right, we're going to do another question. How can teachers and educators encourage a growth mindset in their students?
Oh, look, Johnston ready. Look, go, come on, get him.
No, you got it. You got it. You got it.
I'm just trying to adjust my facial expression to ensure that it is politically correct. Try not to roll my eyes and stress. Like, there are lots of ways. Go ahead. Who's going? Johnston?
Oh, you, because you're the teacher. You the teacher. Come
Oh,
on.
no. Give me a moment on this question because
She's like, I gotta take my time.
There are many ways. First,
it's
have a
such an
willingness.
important question, though.
It is.
It is extremely important. important, which is why I do what I do currently.
Word.
I think when we're in positions to teach or lead, our job is not to tell them things that they're supposed to do. Our students, our clients, our business partners, our goal is not to tell them what to do. It's to inspire and equip them with the tools necessary so that they can be successful, right? So if you were to think about it this way, I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm here to drop seeds so that you can make it your idea. There's times when I'm working with CEOs. Like I had a conversation with this guy that was the vice president of Little Caesars internationally. Him and I had a conversation, da 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 da, and then later on, I said, how do you inspire your team? How do you want your team to see you as a leader?" He was like, "Well, I tell them what to do. I tell them that the culture is." I'm like, "Have you ever thought about this? Have you ever made it their idea to make the transformation?" How do you do that? You start teaching them based off of how they like to be taught. You speak to them the way they like to be spoken to. Like, for example, when I first met Abigail, I saw that how bubbly she was, I could be bubbly with her. That's a concept in psychology, or we get a little deep. It's a concept in psychology called mirroring. So as a leader, if you're mirroring the people that you're teaching, they feel more comfortable and you create trust. Does that make sense? There's a difference if I'm looking at you here and you do this, right? You see my fingers? And I do this, that's not mirroring. We have to do the same thing and be okay. Then what happens is you have to disconnect your ego to the situation and the problem. Because sometimes as humans, we feel like people are pointing the finger at us. And we do not like that. You can't tell me what to do. Why are you telling me what to do? You need to do, you did this. But where does that go as a leader? So to answer the question, I believe it is our job to make it the person, the recipient, the mentee idea to transform. So we got to do a better job of having better communication skills, talking to you guys like adults, talking to you guys like who you are, who you're going to become, who you're becoming later on, who the people you're like, all of those matter. Does that make sense right there? Because I know I kind of went on a ramble.
No, it made 100% sense to me. So definitely speaking facts. One of the things that I was always taught, even growing up, and my father used to tell me, he said, "Son, we're equal in worth, but we're different in position." A lot of teachers look at it where they feel they're worthy or they're higher than who the student and anybody else. But he always told me we're equal in worth, we're different in positions. Yes, according to my position, I have to hold you accountable. But because we're the same as far as when it comes to worth, there's moments that you have to hold me accountable as a father. So when teachers start to look at it in that perspective, in that lens, then they'll start respecting their students accordingly, right? So one of the things, like when I go anywhere, I don't care if you're the CEO or the person emptying the trash, I'm going to speak to you the same. I don't, it doesn't matter. Hey, I'm going to be who I am when I walk in the room. I'll never change. I'm going to speak to you the same. The why behind it is, yes, you may be the CEO, but your job is, yes, to keep it going. But if the janitor don't do his job, you're going to have a hard time, right? So everybody's needed. Students are needed. Teachers are needed. Equal in worth, different in position. But only reason I said that real quick, because I know the teacher about to come on and give some gems. So I just wanted to hurry up and jump on and say that real fast. I'm just saying, hey, I got my notepad, so just so y'all know I'm ready.
I can't help but chuckle because Mal, only you. I will add this because I love what you both have said. And you guys, I'm going to encourage each of you that when you're done to go back and look at the YouTube page. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Jack's Law because he's dropping all kinds of gems in the chat over there. And I'm not going to read them all, but I will say he did add that growth mindset sounds like it might shape you in what you want to be but it sounds like it might make it harder to see outside the box. Johnston, he said, you're way too hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace. and I love that feedback. And I will say, when we talk about like what teachers and educators can do to kind of help students with the growth mindset, I want y'all to remember that we mimic each other, right? Kids mimic what they see. Teens mimic what they see. Adults mimic what they see. So if we're practicing having a growth mindset and we're showing students how to have a growth mindset, chances are they're going to learn to have a growth mindset. But if we continue to show that we are closed-minded and we're not ready or able to evolve or transform, they're not going to be willing to either, because they're going to view it how you're viewing it. And if you're always shutting them down or cutting them off or not even bothering to listen, they're going to mimic that same behavior as they go and do things with other people. So even when we talk about CEOs, employees are going to mimic what that CEO does. So it's the mimicking of the behaviors that you're showing. So if we want those around us to have a growth mindset, we also have to have a growth mindset.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. You guys ready? So I'm looking at what Lamar said. Well, what each of you said is amazing. And it's interesting because this week I was on this little, I don't know, I'm always on this journey of deep reflection. And I get bothered by the fact that we live in a time where it's a challenge to accept, as well as, I don't like the word acceptance, but understand one another, right? And so we look at one another and say, you know, this one has this difference and that one has that difference. And sometimes some of us, unfortunately or fortunately, believe that our difference, like our thing, is the best thing. And people should, you know, come on over to our side. And so when Abby mentioned like show and tell, so I had this revelation this week about show and tell. We left show and tell in kindergarten for a reason, right? So basically what happens is, so when we were younger, we were doing the letter S, you had to bring some, okay, I'm dating myself, guys. I was born in the 1900s. So we had to bring a brown paper bag with something that started with the letter S, something from home. And you had to do your show and tell, right? And so that's me learning the letter S, right? And so as we evolve through the grades, we now don't have to bring a toy to show and tell about the letter S. We now are required to demonstrate our knowledge. So we're dropping the tell part and we're simply showing. And that's the same thing as Abby said, when we're talking about a growth mindset, teachers, you know, being able to demonstrate, to show what it is that we're expecting. So one of the most important things for me when I'm starting off the school year is, first and foremost, before I even get into curriculum, I'm building a classroom community where, as Malcolm said, I love what Malcolm said, where we are all equal in worth, but different in position, right? So we have an understanding, and we develop that understanding that everyone has something that they're bringing to the table. Everyone. So my perspective is, I'm not a teacher, as Chauncey said earlier. I am a facilitator of learning. I'm putting the learning on you. I'm going to learn things from you. You're going to learn things from me, and we work in cohesion, right? So that we're all remaining in alignment. Another thing that's very important is making sure students understand purpose. So within the classroom framework, why are they learning something? Math, I'm going back to math because that's the challenging area, right? Oh my gosh, when am I ever going to need to use the Pythagorean theorem? Or when am I going to need to learn functions? So functions I love to teach because functions function like a party. Let's plan an end of the year party. How many plates will we need? Let's do some functions, right? So I can teach them how to use functions to plan a party. How about that? I draw them in. And so understanding purpose, not only in the learning environment, but purpose overall. Why are you here in this classroom? You're here in this classroom because you need to be. However, comma space, what can we learn and do and grow within the realm of this space? How are we impacting the students' lives? Because at the end of the day, who remembers their sixth grade math class and what they learned? Nobody. But for the most part, you can remember your sixth grade math teacher and how that individual impacted your life, right? Or there's my third grade social studies teacher who made me hate social studies at 9 years old. But anyways, I digress, right? So it's about purpose, what's going on in that classroom, and then looking at the students and identifying your passion. I notice in the math classroom, most students don't like math. I might find one student who is a great artist, one student who's a great writer. How can I utilize that passion and fuel it? Okay, you're not into math, but you're a great artist. We're going to do this problem and we need somebody to illustrate the results. How can I utilize that? So being able to identify their passion and constantly fueling those, using those encouraging words, using growth words. If I hear students using words that are fixed, oh, I'm not good at this, I tell them, speak life, change your framework, speak life, change the words that you use. You're not allowed to talk down to others, and you're definitely not allowed to talk down to yourself. And so I love what Lamar put in the chat. He says it's all about mindset and how you present yourself to others, but most importantly, how you present yourself to you. Okay, Lamar? Okay, Lamar? Topping us off here in the chat, right? So it's how you present yourself to you. And how we present ourselves to us is how we are going to show up for others. That's my piece.
She used this word, purpose. If you guys know what that word means, please put a thumbs up, put something in the chat so I understand you guys know. Because Salika said it earlier that that's kind of my specialty. I help people rediscover what purpose looks like for them, right? So oftentimes, especially for this question, we tend to tell people what they need to do rather than what they feel like they need to do, right? They need to do things uh, that is something that drives them every day, right? So if I were to ask Malcolm right now, what is your purpose of doing what you do? I'm sure it's that young man on your lap, right? Most people have a purpose, and that's the driving factor that allows you to make decisions closest to you becoming your best version, right? So if I were to tell you all to close your eyes for about 10 seconds and you imagine who the best version of yourself is, what would that person do? Who would that person be? What would that person be like? But the most important thing was, what was the thing that drove you to become that person? Then that is what your purpose is, right? So how does that tie into the question? It ties so perfectly because the purpose or the reasoning of why you do something is the correlation to the result that you're looking to get. So if I were to say, Ms. Abigail, why did you decide to create this podcast? And she gives me the answer. I want to empower, impact, and equip the young students with tools so that they can leave this place into the real world with new knowledge, new imagination, new perspective. Right? That's the reason why she did it. Not because she feels like this is going to get her a quick buck. This is probably going to make her look good. This is probably going, it has nothing to do with accolades. And this is something that you guys have to come into grips with, especially as you are growing in your career and in school. If you're leading with purpose, the byproduct of success is second to none. So if you're leading with purpose, if you're leading with people in mind, if you're leading with impact, success, happiness, the tangible things are the byproduct, which is the secondary, and you'll be more fulfilled because you know you're in a space of leading with purpose. Am I being clear?
Crystal.
Okay. That's all. That's it.
1,000%.
Yes, I love Johnson. I love that because you already know my slogan is identify your passion, make it your purpose. And so why I love working with young people, which I never thought this would be something I would do. I would be building spreadsheets on Wall Street is what I used to do. And so for me, teaching And hearing students in 12th grade say they don't know what they're going to do when they graduate was devastating. Also, just being a person who was once a young person, imagine that, back in the 1900s. Um, back in the 1900s. So over time, right, we go through life and we gain these layers, kind of like peeling an onion. We gain these layers of things. But if you really think back to your younger self, there was something that you just had a natural affinity for. And so sometimes people say, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my purpose is. And I say, well, dig in. Chauncey mentioned a lot about sitting with yourself. I tell people that a lot, sitting with yourself. So to a young person, what does that mean? Just sit in a quiet space and listen, not to music. Take the AirPods out, and just listen and dream and imagine. What did your younger self like to do? And so I observe students, and like I mentioned before, one might be a great artist. One might really like music, tapping on the desk with a pencil, making those beats nonstop during the math lesson. Okay, have you thought about becoming a musician? You want to produce beats? That sort of thing. Sit with yourself and think. And then when you go back to who you are, right? When you go back to who you are, not your name, when you go back to who you are and that passion, then is the next step. You identify. So that is purpose. And as Chauncey said, then we make our decisions. Our decision making comes from that space of purpose. Does this party align with my purpose, or does studying for the exam align with my purpose, right? So when I try to make a decision in my life, it should always stem from passion and making sure I'm in alignment, as Chauncey said earlier, with purpose. Very, very important. And, being able to have these conversations and plant these seeds is crucial. And, just sit with yourself 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day, right? Just sit with yourself and think, what did I love to do? I hear students sometimes now, hey, what are you passionate about? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. Well, what do you mean you don't remember? What do you like to do? Think about it. What is that thing that you really like to stop drawing all over the walls all the time? That was my daughter. I have one girl. And now she's 13, and at 11 she decided, oh, I want to be a computer animator. Hello, good. Now I don't have to buy any more crayons, any more paint, any more canvases. iPad Pro, here we go. That's it, right? Now we're just going to fuel it. Okay, girl, build out your portfolio, become a computer animator, right? What is that thing that you always did that brought you joy? Go back to that space and start making those decisions along that path.
I gotta share this because Jack's Law is dropping some real nuggets over here on YouTube, okay? And what they're writing is, it's not, hold on, y'all, give me 1 second. It's about finding yourself and finding the allies that are like you so that you don't do it alone. And that is so true. And it's funny because I was just speaking with interns earlier about building support systems and what those support systems can look like and what they mean. And support takes you a long way. Support systems can help you with that growth mindset. So even when we talk about reflecting, right? And I love that y'all keep going back to those self-reflections and sitting with yourself and learning from yourself, because in those reflections, you find out a lot about you. And that's what it's meant to do, right? You're meant to find out a lot about who you are as a person, as an individual. Sometimes in those couple of minutes, you may find your purpose, and sometimes it may take you not even a day, not even a month. It could take you a year from now before you really can solidify what your purpose truly is. For some people, it comes naturally, and for others, it doesn't, and that's okay. But the idea is, in order for you to get to it, you have to learn to sit with yourself and listen to your inner thoughts. Play them out. It's not meant to be perfect, y'all. There's no perfect thing in this world. Everything comes with hills and cracks in the road, bumps. You may get a couple bruises here and there. It's life. But with that growth mindset, with that support system that you build of people around you, it's all possible. And I love Salika saying, dream. You guys dream. Dreaming about a thing is okay. Now turn that dream into an action plan. But it is all possible. It is definitely possible and it's feasible. So you can do it. Oh my goodness. Like y'all done dropped all the nuggets tonight. Okay. Look, I gotta first say I want everybody to pat themselves on the back because this was a fire way for us to come back. I'm just saying. So look, we've been on hiatus for the whole summer. I know my team excited to be back. Look, welcome back, Alani and Amaya. I mean, everybody was kind of sad about us taking that little break, but I'm like, y'all, we need a break. But we are excited to be back. So we are at the end of the show, so I'm gonna do our outro. But again, I just gotta say, we're gonna be posting on our website under our Talk Tuesday podcast a picture of all of our speakers along with where you can find them at, because why not? They're phenomenal. They're amazing. I wholeheartedly love each and every one of you, and I appreciate you all being here. So yeah, come on, Mal. Come on, Mal. Mal say he got something. Come on.
So real quick, I will say this, because everything, I love what everyone was saying. When you're getting into that moment of purpose or trying to find those allies, you're gonna have moments of being alone. One of the things that I was just teaching individuals, a community yesterday, we were going over vision. Your vision is not going to make sense to everybody else. So what I did is I called one person up and we were talking about her vision, and I had everyone stay muted but applaud, and she couldn't hear anything. That's what it's going to sound like until you get around like minds that when you fall, they'll pick you up. But be prepared for those moments of being alone. Long as you understand your purpose and why it's meant to be. My whole goal, I know I'm a problem solver. My purpose, my passion, it's here some kind of way to solve someone's problem. So my why is deeper. I know what you don't have to applaud for me because I'm walking in my purpose. I'm walking where I need to be. When you align to that, if they applaud, if the fixed mindset stay trying to pull you in their direction, just ignore it and keep going, because you will connect to like minds. Look at us now. We're connecting with each other. Now we got each other's back. That's what it looks like. But be prepared in the moment that sometimes people may not applaud, long as you applaud yourself. That's all I wanted to say.
Ooh, you better come through.
Yes,
Listen,
yes.
listen. Like I said, y'all dropping them nuggets tonight, okay? But again, this is what it's all about. So, like I said, this is why we're excited to be back, why we're excited to have this moment again. So as we wrap up for this evening, especially talking about the power of positivity, I want you all to remember that change doesn't happen overnight, but it happens with intention. The beautiful thing about developing a growth mindset is that you can start right now, right where you are, and with whatever challenge you're facing today in this moment. So whether you're listening as a young person, navigating school, relationships, or figuring out your future, or as a parent or educator, or even a mentor supporting youth in your life, these next 4 weeks are going to be transformative. Again, we've already started with week 1. Phew, y'all got us up here so wet and dropping all these nuggets. So before we end, for those of you who are just now joining the podcast and new to what we do, we have a lot of things that are coming up that you guys can take part in. If you have students, so middle and high school age students that are still interested in joining program, because we have started programming. Whoop, whoop. And we started yesterday. So super excited for that. We have program orientation coming up on August 7th, August 14th, and August 30th. There's still time for you to get your teams registered and involved, as our students are already starting to earn points for being engaged and involved. On August 20th, we have What You Got Cooking. So it's a virtual cooking class for our students under our Survival Spark series. If you have a high school student that is looking to become leaders, or even learn advocacy work. Our youth program ambassador applications are still open, and we're getting prepared to start in September. So get your students engaged and involved. And then the last two things is we have our Build Your Inner Power workshop through our Healing and Community Initiative. We're wrapped up with several community partners, and we're super excited to see this come to work and come into fruition. And so this is teaching our teens how to be resilient through using mental health initiatives. And then last but not least, in September, our Suspects and Secrets Family Murder Mystery that we are hosting in partnership with Salika. So we are looking forward to doing a murder mystery with you guys in September. So we want to thank you guys for being a phenomenal part of Talk Tuesday this month. And remember, the power of positivity is always within you. Stay strong, stay curious, and most of all, stay true to yourself. Until next time, you guys, keep being inspired, stay empowered, and keep leading the way. And we will see you guys next week for Talk Tuesday.